Hello, this is Ben Falk for KillerSites.com. I wanted to take a couple minutes and discuss basic PHP debugging. It's one of those essential topics that you really have to understand in order to build killer web applications. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can go about displaying PHP errors, and then also about some common errors and how to resolve them. It's important to configure PHP correctly in order to display errors. By default, it'll often display simply a blank page rather than showing you the actual error itself. It's generally considered good practice to turn on error reporting on your development server so you're aware of any and all issues as they occur. However, once the site is live and available online, it's best to ensure that error reporting is turned off to avoid confusing legitimate visitors or providing too much information to malicious users. Now, how exactly do you turn on error reporting? Well, that's done in one of two ways. First of all, you can adjust your settings in your php.ini file, or you can actually add some code to your website that'll do the same thing. So first of all, I'm going to show you where your php.ini file are located. First of all, if you're running Mac, you're probably using MAMP, which is the Macintosh, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, and it sort of bundles everything together. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my applications folder and open up MAMP. And your php.ini file is located within conf, which I believe stands for config, and then PHP 5.3 and php.ini. So if I open that up, give it 1 second, code is going to open. Here we go. You need to change 2 lines in this code. So I'm going to search for errors. Here we go. And you need to look for the section called error handling and logging. And scroll down a little bit, and the 2 lines you want to look for is this line, error reporting, and display errors. And this line needs to be all, and this line needs to be set to on. Now if you're running Windows, let me open that up. You're most likely running WAMP, which I am, and there are 2 ways to access the php.ini file. You can either click on the little icon once a WAMP is running and select PHP and then the php.ini, or you can also go to My Computer, locate the folder where you installed WAMP, and then within that folder it's located in bin, PHP, or PHP version, and down here you'll get php.ini. So let me open that up. Same exact thing, I'm going to search for errors. You might have to scroll down a little bit more. Here we go. I want to look for error handling and logging. And again, the 2 lines, error reporting and display errors. And error reporting should be all, and display errors should be on. So that's how to change your php.ini file. Let me close out VMware Fusion. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new page. Here we go. And then the other way to change this is to actually add a couple lines to your code, and they're actually quite useful, and I've set them up so that it's a keyboard shortcut for me. There we go. So the 2 lines you'd want to set would be ini_set, and you have display errors and 1 or on, and then you turn error reporting on by using the all. And I should note that this will depend partially on your server's setup. If you're running on your local machine, it's very easy to turn on or to change your php.ini settings. However, if you have a host, that may be slightly different. And it depends on your host. This may work or it may not, depending on your host settings. So if you have issues and you're working with PHP on a live web host, you may need to contact them directly and ask for assistance. There are 4 different kinds of PHP errors: syntax errors, warnings, notices, and fatal errors. Syntax errors are probably the most common type of error you'll encounter. They're generally caused by a typo of some sort, for example, a missing semicolon, quotation mark, or brace. I've opened up a file in Coda which demonstrates each of these 4 different kinds of errors. For example, this first bit will generate a syntax error, so if I preview it, it says syntax error, unexpected echo on line 5. With this type of error, it's important to check the line above the line shown in the error. Usually, a typo in the line above is the source of the problem. So while this error showed that line 5 was the issue, if you look one line above, we're missing a semicolon. And if we preview that, it'll fix the issue. Another common syntax error occurs if you forget to add a closing brace. For example, on line 8, you'll notice we have a function that starts, we have an opening brace, but not a closing brace. So if I preview this, you'll get an unexpected end error with a message about line 20 all the way down at the end of the file. For future reference, this often occurs when you forget that closing brace. So your best bet is to go back through your code and make sure that every opening brace has a closing brace. So once with that brace added in, you can preview the file and you notice the error disappears. Another type of PHP error is called a warning. Warnings don't halt application execution like syntax errors. However, PHP has identified an issue with your code and wants to alert you. For example, you may run into the headers already sent warning. This often occurs when something, often a space, is sent and displayed in the browser, and then the programmer tries to redirect the user using the header function. Another common warning is passing an incorrect number of parameters to a function. And the third kind, as I've indicated here, is when you try to include a file that doesn't exist. If I preview that, you'll notice failed to open stream, no file or directory. In this case, you'll notice the code itself is actually valid, just there's an issue with the file name. A third kind of PHP error is called a notice. Like warnings, these notices don't stop your application from executing either. However, they often indicate something is missing. For example, trying to echo out a variable that doesn't exist. Let me go back here. Just need to comment this out. You'll get undefined variable test. Finally, the last kind of PHP error is called a fatal error. This error is saying that while your PHP code has the correct syntax, for some reason it couldn't follow through on your command. For example, in line 17, trying to call a function that doesn't actually exist. So you'll notice you get a call to undefined function test on line 17. With these 4 types of errors in mind, what can you do to help speed up the debugging process? First of all, be patient. The error message itself often explains the issue, so make sure you read that thoroughly. For syntax errors, check the line above the one indicated in the error message for incorrect syntax like missing semicolons, braces, etc. Make sure you're properly indenting your code to help improve readability, and use a code editor with syntax highlighting that color codes your code and helps you spot issues. In case you aren't getting any error messages, but your code is still giving you unexpected results, check your logic. Examine your code line by line to make sure it does what you think it does. Don't be afraid to add extra echo or printr statements to check the value of your variables. You can also use the die function to immediately stop the script from executing any further. Second to last, Google it. Other people have probably run into the same issue that you are encountering, and it's quite possible that the solution is already online. Finally, it often helps to have someone else look at your code. A fresh set of eyes can do wonders. If you're having an issue you can't sort out, feel free to post on the Killer Sites forums at killersites.com/community. I believe that wraps up today's screencast. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me. My email is ben@killersites.com, and you can contact me on the Killer Sites forums as well, where I go by the username Falcon Creative. Thanks for listening.